Hello students, welcome to Medieval Europe Vocabulary Part 2. You are going to need to get a piece of paper out and a pencil because you're going to write down these words and definitions like you have been doing for the last couple videos. This PowerPoint will finish up our vocabulary for Medieval Europe. So make sure that you are studying your vocabulary words a little bit every day so that you're prepared for your vocabulary quiz that's going to be coming up, as well as your unit test. Also, you may want to do another side quest dealing with Medieval Europe Vocabulary Part 2. It's a great way to earn XP, get some items, and honor for your house. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Our first word is Middle Ages. This is the period in European history from about 500 to 1500 AD. It's basically the time period that we are focusing on in this class the whole time. So it's about the fall of Rome through the Renaissance. And I will tell you, last year a lot of students really struggled with being able to tell the word Middle Ages from medieval apart. The key there is to remember that Middle Ages is the actual time period that we are studying, the 500 to 1500 AD. Meanwhile, medieval just simply means from the Middle Ages. So medieval could be like if we were to look at an illuminated manuscript made by monks during the Middle Ages, that manuscript could be considered medieval. So that's just a little hint for you to try and keep these two words straight. All right, our next word is nation. It's a large community or area that shares a single government. An example of a nation could be the United States. We are a large community and we have our big national government. So basically, almost any country could be considered a nation. That's why I have all these flags. So whenever you see this, just remember any kind of community that shares a government could be a nation. Next, we have Parliament. Parliament is a council that advises the King or Queen of England on government matters. The British still have Parliament today. You can see a picture over here of where Parliament currently meets in London. And this picture on the right shows the Parliament during medieval times. So you get kind of a glimpse as to what it looked like whenever all these advisors would come together and meet with the king or queen to discuss what's going on in the country and what kind of steps they need to do to either fix things or make things better. So Parliament is almost similar to our own version of the House of Representatives or the Senate. So you can kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Next, we have self-sufficient. It means being able to supply one's own needs. So if you are self-sufficient, you basically have everything you need to survive. You have the skills to get food, make clothes. You don't need help from anyone else. Next, we have serf. I'm sure a lot of you are really familiar with this term by now. It's a person considered to be part of the land. Remember, they are different from peasants because they are actually considered property. So when a new lord takes over, they basically own these serfs and they inherit them along with the manor and all the property attached to it. So remember, serfs are basically considered property. Next, we have troubadour. That's a traveling performer who sang about the deeds of knights. They would usually travel all along the countryside to kind of hear about different amazing stories about these knights, and they would try and highlight these good deeds through song. We'll learn a little bit more about this in our next chapter, but as you can see, they generally had different kinds of musical instruments, and they would travel around spreading the word of chivalry usually. And finally, we have a vassal, who is a person who swears loyalty to a lord. Usually a vassal would be a knight. Remember, lords always need someone to be loyal to them, especially knights, to help them protect the people that are on their property. So it's very important for lords to get as many vassals as possible to really help protect their area. Usually in return for loyalty, a vassal would later be rewarded with some land and then they could become a lord themselves. So don't forget, vassal, person who swears loyalty to a lord. I'm sure you're all familiar with this by now after discussing feudalism. But this is our last vocabulary word, so make sure that you are studying these words and getting ready for your quiz. If you're confused about any of the terms, don't forget to ask me. All right, guys, till next time, I will see you with Medieval Middle East.